Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about why you're here, and by here I don't mean your house, I mean the planet Earth. So let's get started. For those of you who are familiar with our solar system, you know that we have 8 planets. There's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So, some of you may know that the planets can actually be split into 2 groups. These are what is known as the terrestrial planets, from the word terra in Latin, meaning earth, and these 4 are known as the Jovian planets. So what's the biggest difference about them is that the terrestrial planets are mostly rock. Like when you think of Earth, we're just a big planet of rock, and the Jovian planets are mostly gas. So the reason why we can't inhabit these 4 planets are because they're made up of mostly gas. So we need to inhabit a planet that has rock. So let's talk about life itself. Life only needs 3 things to survive. So the first thing is energy. So what's so important about energy is that it provides us everything we need for life functions. And this can be either obtained through the sun, which is a star, and all planets revolve around a star. Or you can get it from chemical reactions, like especially the organisms that live underground, they'll get their energy from chemical reactions. The second important thing that we need is food. So food actually is only made up of 6 elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. So these are the only 6 elements that we'll need for food. And surprisingly, both energy and food can be found on basically any other planet. But it's the third thing that makes it difficult. It's water. What's so difficult about water is that the water needs to be liquid. Now, there are some plants that do have liquid water. However, they can be trapped by ice. And if we can't get to the water, can't inhabit the planet. And it's probably too cold anyway. So, there are planets in our solar system that do have liquid water. Venus, Earth, of course, and Mars. But what differentiates the 3 is their atmosphere. The issue is the atmosphere must have the perfect temperature. So if I drew out our solar system, we have the sun in the center. Then we have Mercury. Mercury orbiting here, Venus, Earth, and then Mars. So I'm just going to draw out Venus, Earth, and Mars just for the purpose of this explanation. So there are those 3 planets. So the reason why we have such different atmospheres is our distance to the sun. So Venus is very close to the sun, so the atmosphere is very hot. It's a very thick atmosphere. And so the issue is that when we have such a hot atmosphere, then the water is way too hot. And we know when water is way too hot, it's a gas and no longer a liquid. So we can't live on Venus. Earth has the perfect atmosphere. It's not too thick, not too thin, not too cold, not too hot. It's just right for Earth inhabitants to live there. All 8 million or so species. And then there's Mars. Mars has such a thin atmosphere, it's freezing there. And I mean, not just like a jacket, like a parka. It's pretty bad there. So the issue there is that the water there is way too cold that it becomes ice. So when people say that they've found that liquid water on Mars, it'd be hidden underneath ice, since we know that ice has a lower density than water, so that will rise. However, there is some interesting thing to think about for the future. As we're moving along in life, Earth gets about 18 centimeters further from the sun every single year. And it might not seem like a lot, but that's actually a lot of space. So as we're moving, our planet eventually will become where Mars is. It'll have that really thin atmosphere, it'll be really cold, and the reason why this is happening is because the sun is losing mass. And we know that anything that has mass has gravity. And the more mass you have, the more gravitational pull you'll have. So as the sun is moving further from us, that's because it has less gravity since it's losing mass. So maybe sometime in the future, we could actually inhabit Venus when Earth becomes inhabitable. But for the time being, researchers are looking at extraterrestrial planets that are far, far out in other systems that aren't even in our solar system. And so we'll keep looking at those, but for right now, we're going to stick on Earth. So I hope you like it here. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.